Let's look at another example of function notation. In general, when you have function notation, you have something like f of x equals, and then maybe some expression. So x squared plus 2x, for example. Anything that you have inside of parentheses represents your input. That's your x value. That's your left to right number. And any number that you might have this equaling, so after you plug in that value, this gives you some output. That output is your y value. Another way of visualizing this, if you have f of 2 equals, say, 3, I'm doing it with some numbers. This would tell you that you have an input or an x value of 2, and the number that you have on the other side, that's your output. That would be a y value of 3. So let's look at problem 67 from the Orca book and try to use this input-output idea to see how that would work with a graph. So for number 67, part A, it says find f of -1. The first thing I'm going to notice is the location of this -1. I'm seeing -1 is on the inside. And because it's on the inside, that means it's an input or an x value of -1. So the thing I'm trying to find is the output or the y value. So they've given me the x, -1. I'm looking for what is the y value there. So on my graph, I'm going to go to x of -1, and I'm going to go down until I meet this spot on my graph. So in this case, that looks like that's going to happen right here. I have an x value of -1. I have a y value of -2. So I have an input of -1. My answer is -2. Let's see how that would be different if they tell us solve. Solve typically means like solve for x. F of x equaling 1. While this 1 that they're giving me is not on the inside, it's on the outside. So this is an output or a y value. And the thing that they've not given me is they've not given me the input. So another way to phrase this question is, when I have a y value of 1, what is the value for x? So that's another way of saying solve f of x equaling 1. And on my graph, I'm going to see that this happens at 2 spots where I have a y value of 1. That happens here. I have a y value of 1 for that heart. And I have a heart here at -4. So I have 2 different x values that actually work here. I have x of -4 would give me a 1. And I have x of 0 would give me a 1. So if I have f of x equaling 1, I would say my answer set here is -4, 0. The number is on the inside, that's your x value. So you're going to go to that number going left and right. If the number is on the outside, that's your y value. So you're going to find that number going up and down. They work in opposite directions, inputs and outputs.